Hello.
Ye-
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah,
All
sorry. Yeah,
right.
you can start now.
Okay. You are welcome once again to today's session. My name is Erica Tingan. I'm a social asset specialist at Steady Sustainability Hub, and I'll be moderating this session in the next 90 minutes. Before we get started, before we get into it, please let's ensure our mics are muted. Do not hesitate to drop a reaction if you're enjoying this session, because I believe it's going to be an very interesting and insightful one, and there'll be time for questioning. So let's get into it. Today's session is titled From and for Local Communities, Building Green Skills and Career Ecosystem. So today we are going to delve into capacity building, green skills, and green careers. And we promise our topic is going to be timely, our discussion will be insightful, and our guides for today's session. We're expecting 3 speakers, but unfortunately one couldn't make it, so we have 2 at the moment. And I would like to use this opportunity to introduce 2 of them at the same time due to our time. Our first speaker is a renowned expert whose passion for governance and sustainability spans
Excuse me,
continent
Erica.
and
It
yeah,
seems your slide is not
my
moving.
slides. I'm
Yes.
sorry. Thanks for letting me. All right. Can you see it now?
Yeah, it has moved
Yes.
now.
So okay. Our first speaker is a renowned expert whose passion for governance and sustainability spans continent and disciplines. He holds a Master of Research from Kingston University, London, an MBA from the University of Liverpool, and an MSc in governance from the University of Lincoln. Currently, he is pursuing a PhD in governance and sustainability at Kingston University. He is also the founder and lead of Leaps and Heights Foundation, which is a dynamic organization committed to youth empowerment, sustainability education, and community development across Africa. He's also a published author of a book called Sustainability Management and Strategy, an African Casebook. So this book is a groundbreaking work highlighting industry sustainability narratives from the African continent. As a consultant, he has advised African businesses on sustainability and governance, and he is also a fellow of the UK Higher Education Academy and a certified business and management educator. His teaching experience spans higher education institutions in both the UK and in China. Help me welcome Enoch Opare Menta. We can use our reactions briefly, then I move on to the next speaker. Our second speaker, Evans Jache, he is currently the Chief Operating Officer at Leaps and Heights Foundation with over 5 years of experience in nonprofit leadership and sustainability advocacy. He previously led programs at Ghana ICT Skills Hub and held roles with the UK-Ghana Chamber of Commerce. Evans holds a degree in economics from KUST, thus Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and he is passionate about driving sustainable development and social impact. Another reaction. All right, so we would like to welcome our first speaker, Enoch Opare Menta, to start off with his presentation. And in the next 60 to 90 minutes, I know we are going to enjoy this session. Should I say your time starts now?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for such a warm introduction, and a very good morning here from the UK to our lovely audience on this platform, on Facebook and any other streaming platform. Yeah, so as she has already introduced, my name is Inako Paramita, sustainability specialist, and also the founder of Steady Sustainability Hub. One of our key focus is in the area of green skills, jobs, and careers development. So whilst we are looking at the very overarching theme of this conference, in light of local climate adaptation roles, one of the very important areas we forget when we are running some of these local projects for climate resilience, etc., is the place of green skills, green careers, and green jobs. So just to start off, I mean, we all know sustainability. In a simplified term, we are just looking at a kind of development that meets the needs of the present, most importantly, without compromising the ability of future generations to also meet their needs in a very fast-paced and changing environment. So in its nutshell, to bring it back home, when we are talking about sustainable communities, drawing inspiration from this broad definition, we are looking at not just communities, but places designed in communities, which is aimed at, again, meeting both the needs of the present and future generations, especially underscoring it under these dimensions of environmental considerations, social consideration, and economic factors. Next slide. Yeah, so to give a general overview, the whole trend of ESG, environmental social governance, came out as one of the frameworks for underscoring or explaining sustainability in simple terms. But ESG is not sustainability, and sustainability is not ESG. ESG is a subset of sustainability. ESG just gives us measurability, quantifiable metrics or indicators to really underscore integrate sustainability practices and then report. So in a broader shell, you realize that the environmental pillar encapsulates focus areas from carbon emissions to biodiversity issues to plastics issues to green technology and what have you. Same with the social, which also has its focus on human capital, product liability, stakeholder engagement, and then social opportunities. Whilst the governance dimension looks at not just corporate governance, but corporate behaviors, community behaviors, and what have you. But most importantly, one of the things I want you to take back home is the fact that, for example, as she mentioned in my introduction, I specialize in governance and sustainability. Unsustainability is bad governance. Whether a community, a company, an organization will thrive on its environmental focus, it is when there is a presence of good governance. If a company will thrive on its social focus, again, it is dependent on how strong their governance pillar is. So whilst we are going in there and we are talking about, green skills development and what have you, let's us have a helicopter view of all of these separate pillars or dimensions, which really come together again, not to replace sustainability, but to act as a framework for explaining sustainability. Next slide. Now, this chart is a very beautiful chart which shows ESG integration across business functions. This is it's very important we understand it because before we go into green skills and green jobs and careers, people often think that, green skills is one specialized area for people in engineering or people in a particular, field of study or field of endeavor. But if you look at this chart, you realize that almost every aspect of the puzzle in an organization is supposed to be interested and implements ESG or sustainability. So right from operations to human resources to the board of directors sitting at the top to product development to IT, each and every function contributes to ESG practices, to sustainability practices, to sustainability integration and implementation. So when we bring or carry this knowledge into local adaptation projects, you should think that no one should be left behind. Sustainability is not a preserve of particular careers, particular portfolios. Each and every portfolio needs to understand and contribute to the sustainability conversation. Even the cleaner in an organization needs to understand why, careful management of water consumption is a critical sustainability conversation. It shouldn't be left just to the board of directors or to the executive management, but even down to the person who is at the security desk, who understands their role, in delivering a very robust sustainability strategy for the organizations. Next slide. Now, it is very important we understand the emerging skills trend from now till 2013 and even beyond. And I want to make reference to the World Economic Forum reports, which made some very interesting, pronouncements on some emerging skills. From the first point, you realize technological change, geoeconomic fragmentation, and other demographic shifts are going to be very important in the future of work skills. But again, we can see green transition being one of the highlighted skills in the next 5 years to come and even beyond. Going to my second point, you would realize that energy generation, storage, and distribution accounted for 41% of the global emerging skills trend this report was looking at. It is interesting to see advancement in technology, particularly in AI, but remember, there is a symbiotic relationship between the advancement of AI and how robust we can develop sustainability strategies, sustainability practices, and sustainability frameworks and modules using the power of AI. Next slide. Breaking these, results down, again, we can see particularly not just about green transition, but issues to do with climate change mitigation as the third most transformative trend that is going to happen, not just in the next 5 years, but even up to 2050. So the green transition is again hinged on climate change adaptation, which ranks sixth. Again, in terms of the kind of roles that would really be topical in the next 5 years and beyond, are roles from renewable energy engineers, environmental engineers, electric cars, and autonomous vehicles, and these are captured in the first 15 growing jobs. But most importantly, whilst some people may be biased and think that these roles are just roles committed to specialized skills, we are also looking at a broad spectrum of green skills, which we saw from ESG integration across the business function, cutting across almost every sphere of organizations. Next slide. So again, the climate trends focusing on, environmental stewardship, again, being captured in the 10 fastest growing skills as, captured in the World Economic Forum report. So this is just to give you a background of how important green skills is presently and how it would really take the center stage in future and emerging skills in the future. Next slide. Again, technology-related roles, areas like green and energy transition, and all of this, as I mentioned early on, are going to be, again, very topical in the conversation of future job and future skills. Next slide. Okay, this brings us to the concept of green skills, jobs, and careers. So green skills, again, any technical and soft knowledge, ability, values, and attitudes is what we define as green skills. So you might not be an engineer, or you might not fall into the renewable energy engineering specialist or whatever, but there is a place for green skills. Each and every, a worker, regardless of how technical or non-technical your skills, your skill sets are in your current role, you would need a kind of technical and soft knowledge, ability, values, and attitudes, which puts you in a position to contribute to the green transition we are talking about. And again, not just the skills, but transitioning these skills into jobs that gives you the opportunity to handle portfolios or positions that are directly related to pushing the sustainability agenda. Not just, occupying jobs, but again, transforming this to careers, lifelong careers, which would, put one in a place to contribute long-term to fighting some of the climate change and systemic issues we find now in our existing roles. Next slide. So again, when we are talking about green jobs, from solar panel technician to wind turbine, energy to environmental specialist. So these are the very or technical specific skills, you would want to develop. But the non-technical skills, like for example, the project manager or even the secretary in an organization, for example, energy efficiency analysis is a critical green skills you need to develop. You don't need to be an engineer. You don't need to have, robust technical skills in this area. But for example, being in the office and understanding how, water consumption plays in contributing to climate change, how energy efficiency in the office or in the whole establishment. These are skills, for example, environmental monitoring, energy monitoring. A security can do energy monitoring. A cleaner can understand energy monitoring. So this is how we want to disseminate and break the whole conversation of green skills to non-technical people who may not, quote unquote, think they don't have any place in, the green conversation. They have a place in the green conversation because green skills are critically needed to support the green transition. Next slide. So looking at this pie chart, tells us a very simple story. In order to achieve the green economic and social responsibility we are talking about, it is anchored on three areas: the green skills for every employee, the green jobs for those who want to transition into technical roles, and the green careers for people who are looking at a long-term profession of contributing to climate change mitigation, adaptation, and leveraging opportunities. Next slide. This brings us to another chart where if we are looking at climate transition in its entirety, again, we are looking at the skills or competence of employees. We are looking at occupation, again, jobs, and then career in terms of industry. Next slide. So over here, I hand over to Erica, who will be taking us through some videos to really understand the global statistics and how these global statistics are very imperative for us, in understanding how green skills play a critical role in climate adaptation activities. Thank you. Over to you, Erica.
Thank you so much, Mr. Enoch. At least the few key takeaways I took from the presentation is that there is a place for green skills and there are green skills for everyone. It doesn't matter the field you find yourself in. All right, so I'll go ahead and then play this video for us all to have a look. Please, can you see my screen?
No, maybe you would have to share your whole screen.
Okay. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, we can see the screen for the third video. So maybe you want to start from the first video. Okay, so whilst we wait for Erica, just to push things a little further before she comes in. So, okay, I think she's sharing the screen now. Okay.
241 million green jobs by 2030. But who's going to fill them? The green economy is booming. From solar panels to electric trucks, the future is bright. But there's one big problem. We don't have enough skilled people to make it happen. Green job demand is growing 4 times faster than green skills. That's like building a spaceship with no astronauts. Many workers have the right skills but don't list them. Companies are training from scratch when they don't have to. Countries are losing talent to others offering better opportunities. So what do we do? Encourage people to share their green skills proudly. No, it's not greenwashing. Create clear, trusted green certifications. Get governments and businesses to team up on green training. The clock is ticking. If we want a greener world, we need a greener skilled workforce, and we need it now. Let's get to work. For free courses, programs and scholarship on sustainability, visit Study Sustainability Hub at www.studysustainabilityhub.com.
Okay, so I'll move on to the next video. Is that okay?
Sure. So I think from our first video, it's evidently clear that the demand for green jobs are skyrocketing, but unfortunately, the skills to meet, these green jobs is still a huge headache. And the question we all have to ask ourselves is, how does these dynamics play in our different geographical regions? How does it play in? Okay, I think Erica is ready now.
I just didn't realize I was this underwater. If you're stressed about your paper, just get Grammarly. It's free. I don't need better grammar. I need an A on this essay. Grammar.
There's two ways to see the world. Some people see the thing that they want, and some people see the
Erica, I
thing
think you are playing the
that
wrong
prevents
video.
them from getting the thing that they want.
Yeah, so we'll just wait for Erica to sort this out.
The world is changing so fast. We're seeing
No, Erica, yeah, you are playing the right.
And the impact of climate change on every facet of society cannot be understated. We can all see and feel it. While students' anxiety soars, many are searching and asking questions about what employability skills to develop for a climate and sustainability-driven economy for now and the future. Professionals are not left out of the climate concern, as there is undue pressure on them from employers, customers, and investors about how sustainability and climate-smart solutions should be embedded in everyday business to mitigate the impact of climate change. The place of skills development, especially for the younger generation, as a vehicle for impact and turning the tides, has become central to the climate fight and sustainability. How do we address this? How do we build the skill set? Information on sustainability is scattered. Is there a one-stop shop for sustainability courses, trainings, events, mentorship, jobs opportunities, and more? An internet search will help. Want everything you're searching for in one place? Study Sustainability Hub is the place to go to. The world's first and largest sustainability marketplace, from university programs from top schools and destinations to free courses, professional training certification, events, scholarships, grants, fellowships, jobs, connecting with mentors, careers catalogue, student services to advertisements. Visit us at www.studysustainabilityhub.com and our social media handles. Study Sustainability Hub. Find a course, choose a career, be employable. www.studysustainabilityhub.com.
Still too lazy to learn AI? Watch others get ahead while you stay behind. Disappear for 1 month to become the most
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry for what happened. My mouse is giving me trouble. So we are moving on to the next should I say the next stage, and I'd like to invite Evans, our next speaker, to take his presentation.
Yeah. Erica, I think please share your slides for Evans. Or would you want me to share it from my end?
Yes. Can everyone hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes, Evans,
Hello,
we can
can you
hear
hear
you.
me?
I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, great. So thank you very much to the first speaker, Enoch Obarumenta, for sharing a detailed introduction on why green skills and green jobs and green careers is important. I mean, if you are here listening, we are introducing you to the next stage or the next phase that everyone who is smart enough would want to grasp. Like you mentioned, green skills refers to the knowledge, the abilities, and the attitudes that you need to live in a resource efficient world. Now, we did a case study with the Study Sustainability Hub, and we have these analytics that we got from this study. Now, the hub was done to just have a passionate group of or community of sustainability experts who will lead the conversations on sustainability. Now we found something very interesting, and in the first slide you see that according to countries, those who followed and then were passionate about sustainability, we had one from Nigeria. We have about 3.5% people from Nigeria. Then we have those also from the UK, then from Kenya and from Ethiopia. And from the list, you see that a lot of concentration, a lot of interest is from the African community. Now, move to slide number 2. Let me go there before I come back. Slide number 2. Now, with our case study, we saw that those who followed or were passionate about this this thing called sustainability per industry, we had about 21% of them in the education and training sector. We had about 17% in the non-profit, civic and social services sector, then 13% in technology and IT. What does this number show us? It's very simple. Green skills is the new normal that is coming up, and we have about 21% of people who are in education and training. It just means that there are a lot of people who can be advocates of sustainability in our local communities or wherever that we are. And the demand for green skills training has to start from these people within the education and training industry. So for instance, if you are in a local community and then you are embarking on an initiative, a sustainability climate change initiative, you want to be looking at those within the education and then training sector. You want one to be focusing on education and training because, like the first speaker said, the need for green jobs is rising. And two, there are a lot of people who are engaged in non-profit business or civic and social services business. So you want to target your concentration on this part of the sector, the non-profit, because about 17% from this data shows that there are people who are taking more initiatives, however, may be lacking green skills. They becoming part of the community just means that they are interested. They are the bunch of people interested in sustainability. So if in your local community you want to plant trees, you want to engage in anything sustainability, you want to be looking at those within the non-profit sector, getting collaborations with those within the non-profit sector and being engaging in that sphere. Now, The 13% from technology and IT also shows that there are a lot of people who are getting more technologically inclined. Their current jobs are within the technology and an IT space. It means that in your execution of any local project, you want to factor in technology. You want to factor in technology in your delivery, because a lot of people currently have that technology and an IT skill. So what the data we are showing you here is for you to leverage on people's current skill for your sustainability or climate change project. Climate change, or the skill, these green skills that we're talking about, is not anything it's not anything that we have to it's not anything we have to go look for a skill somewhere. The people who are already skilled are those who have to upskill. So in sustainability, we have what we call the rescaling, the upscaling, and then scaling. So there are those who already have the skill. So you want to leverage on their skill and then help them to learn green skills. So for instance, someone who works as a project manager, someone who is a project manager can upskill by learning green project management. So in your delivery or execution of any local project, you want to look at those who already have the interest, and you want to look at their industry. You want to look at where they already fit and then lead them in scaling up. Can you move to the next slide? Now, by industry too, we saw these other factors. We say they are about 0.8% in the social and religious institutions. We have about 2.9 followers within the government and administrating and in public services. We have those also in the logistics, transportation, and manufacturing. We have those also in international relations and then development. What is this data saying? It's simply showing us that we can have lots of collaboration within different spheres or within different industries that would help in the achievement of our goal or our project, our local projects. Can you move to the next slide? Now, per job function, our research shows that education and research had about 11.4%. The community who were part of State Sustainability Hub were about 11.4% who were in education and research. This simply shows us that anything that you are going to do within any initiative that has to do with climate change, you ought to focus your strength on those within education and research. Next, you can also focus your strength on those in business development and sales, because about 8.4 people are within that job function. Can you move to the next slide? Okay, the next slide. Good. Now, this is where I also want to concentrate on. Per the company size, we saw that about 20.3% of companies who were interested in sustainability were about 20.3. They were small companies, about 1 to 50 employees. It means that these companies are just within the short bracket. So we are looking at small companies that are interested in sustainability compared to larger companies that are interested in sustainability. So if there is any local initiative that you want to employ, you want to look at those small companies who have interest. There are large companies in communities who are clearly not interested in sustainability. You want to focus on these small companies who know the benefits that they would derive from sustaining the environment. Can you move to the next slide? Then per our follower count in terms of gender, we say that we had 63.75 followers who were males, and then 36.25 followers who were females. It just means that the female class is also catching up in terms of delivery of sustainability projects. Our focus in green skills training should not only be neglected to the males. We have female followers who are also interested and very excited that their contribution will be heard in terms of this sustainability space. So can you move to the next slide, if there is? Okay, thank you very much. I'll leave it here. Erica, over to you.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Yeah, I'll continue from here. So with this analytics, what Evans was trying to put together in a nutshell is that before you roll out your climate adaptation project at the local level, first of all, dig into the existing skills of people. How do you do that? Collect as much as data as you from, and then try to build that ecosystem that really supports, not just the implementation of the skills, but opportunities, the opportunity hotspots where green skills and career development can be enhanced. So again, from building green skills to job, it is all about building local capacity for adaptation projects. How do you do the building of the local capacity? Collect data, not just data on demographics, but understand the skill set, the existing skill set of the populace in that community. Because one of the biggest challenge has been that right from project development to implementation to delivery, what we call the DID, you realize that most of these are done by external skilled workforce, where the local communities are just at the receiving end. So in terms of project continuity, when these external skills set or resources are out there, the community is just left to see some of these projects, go down the drain. But it is very important that local communities, especially the young people, develop the technical and soft skills so they can really fit in and provide for the deficit DID really creates when it comes to project continuity stacking. Why? Because the local crafts, the local group do not have the necessary skills set and jobs. How can we avoid and mitigate this function? Again, by collecting as much as data to understand the skills demographics, to understand the skills, scope of the existing workforce in the area, and then rightly appropriating the necessary green skills and career development. Next slide. So how do you do that? Just to give you a very a template you can follow. So for example, in conducting a community level green skills and careers assessment, when you are delivering your project, first of all, define the scope and objective. What is the adaptation project about? Once you know what the adaptation project is about, and you know the key focus areas, you know the timeline for analysis, you are able to now see where are the opportunities for green skills development. Whilst you're looking at the opportunities for green skills development, most importantly, again, back to our analytics, get the industry segmentation of the people, get the existing job skills segmentation of the people, so that those in education and research, you are going to leverage on them so that they do not just provide, existing information about why that climate adaptation project in the community is very important, but post the project, what are some of the other opportunities we can explore? Because, for example, I always tell project management and the companies I consult for that every project is the end of the beginning and the beginning of the end. It is finding a solution to one problem, which is the end, and then the beginning of another extension of a solution. So define the scope and objectives. Once the scope and objective is defined, you now see where you can create that opportunity for green skills and careers development. Next slide. After defining the scope, as I said, you identify the required skills. What are the essential skills for achieving this adaptation business goal? What are the soft skills competence? What are the technical skills competence? Where are the transferable skills? Again, there are a lot of uncertainty and agitation amongst young people. They think these green skills, again, I repeat, is going to take a specialized degree in sustainability before they can speak the green language. No. With your existing skills, you can still find a place to transfer some of your existing skills into the broad conversation of sustainability. Most importantly, consult stakeholders. Once you consult stakeholders, again, you have already defined the scope of that adaptation project you are coming to roll out. It now gives you the opportunity to understand their skill set and how their skill set plays in, and how you can strategically run targeted, education and training on green skills development, so that, again, I repeat, it is not just about the completion of the project, but giving people the opportunity to have hands-on green skills development, which will extend the skills, so that right after the completion of the project, with a very strong education and research background, with a non-profit ecosystem that are really engaged or already engaged in whichever adaptation project you are talking about, they are able to, again, extend the solutions, not to cover even other communities, but even within the same community. Next slide. And then assessing the current skills. It is very important. Again, going back to our analytics, and that is why we use our analytics for case study. You have to gather data on community human capacity skills, create an inventory of the skills, use a variety of assessment tools, both qualitative and quantitative. Most importantly, when you create the skills inventory, again, going back to analytics, you are able to understand where the majority of the skill sets are, because I have seen several climate adaptation projects at the community level where they bring in the project, they roll everybody in, and if you look at, for example, the people who are IT proficient, software engineers, for example, there was this community project on helping the community account for their carbon emissions to identify the risk spots and opportunity spots. They didn't conduct, a human skills assessment in the first place, and didn't take skills inventory. Brought in the project, and they realized that not even up to 2% of the skill sets in that community amongst the young people was aligned to technology or AI. And they had to bring in other people. And what is the pain of bringing in other people? Number one, they come to take a chunk of the funding away in terms of compensation of human resources. But most importantly, these are, I call them, borrowed skills to the community. The community just borrowed the skills and they will live with the skills. So you realize that, yes, projects has been delivered, but in terms of empowering the skills of young people, it is nil. So most importantly, conduct a community human skills assessment, understand the skills inventory you have, and then okay, so we have very good strength when it comes to research. Okay, how can we transfer these research skills in whichever area they are conducting research into the green area? So that, for example, yes, we may not have the IT guys or whatever, but again, we have a very strong research component which can extend the project beyond what we are doing. Why? Because these research people can still continue, to conduct research where we can identify, again, the risks and opportunity hotspots and gaps for further project extension. Next slide. Okay, and then this brings us back to identifying the skills gap. So once you take the inventory, you compare the required skills and the current skills. This is the current skills the community, has. The young people in the community have, the educated people, those who have been through formal education, and most importantly, those who have also been through the non-formal education. Because remember, the green skills development has nothing to do with acquiring any specialized skills or specialized training. It is all about getting everybody on board and showing them how their existing skills contribute to the sustainability conversation, and how they can, as my CEO said, how they can upskill, reskill, and skill their existing skills to find a place in the sustainability conversation and project. So once you are able to do a mapping of what are the required skills for the climate adaptation project, what are the current skills we have owing to our skills inventory, you are able to match, identify where the gaps are, prioritize the gaps, categorize the gaps, and then let's move to the next slide. And then develop an implementation and action plan to really address this skills gap. Once you are able to create training programs, implement different strategies, track their progress, evaluate impact, iterate and improve. Most importantly, I always say there are always existing ecosystem of nonprofits who are doing, pockets of projects, in climate adaptation. How do you leverage the experience? Not just leveraging the experience, but most importantly, bringing them into this project so they can also build evidence they can build portfolios for themselves, which can be a springboard for some of these small pockets, quote and unquote, non-profit organization in this same place, so they can, access more funding, access more expertise, access more collaboration and partnerships to develop their communities. So back to the title of this, seminar workshop, it is from and for local communities. So from the local communities, for the local communities, building their green skills and careers for an enabling ecosystem that is not just interested in, the delivery of climate adaptation projects, but most importantly, developing local skills. By looking at the current skills, by doing a skills inventory and assessment, looking at the required skills for the project, marrying these two, bringing out the gaps, creating training programs that really address these gaps. The next slide. And then that is where the mapping begins. So you map the needs of the community to the required competence development. After you have done required skills, current skills, what is the gap, training specifically to, focus on the gap. There, you are able to do a skills to needs mapping for the project. You have identified the skills, you have identified the needs, you have mapped them, and when it comes to action delivery, again, we are not just interested in the completion of the project, but completion of the project with a human resource capacity developed in the green economy and the green transition. And what is the advantage? You are not just interested in project completion. You have been able to develop the skill set of the young people in the community who, again, you already know their background. They've now acquired green skills. They are now able to transition into green jobs. They are now even able to transition into building long professional or careers in the area they find themselves in. And these are some of the examples of the tools you can use for, conducting skills to need mapping assessments. Next slide. So what is this slide saying? We are saying that when a community is able to develop their green competence and have a very strong advocacy framework or toolkit for that, they are able to attract funding. And this funding is for project continuity. Because if you are presenting a case to a funder and saying that, okay, so we had a climate adaptation project, for example, an REDD plus project, planting of trees. But we just didn't plant the trees. But when we did our skills assessment, we had a business development community in our area. It is not just about tree planting, but they have understood the whole afforestation program as contributing to climate change, and they want to develop a carbon market for this project. We had an IT community, in our community, young people who understand, IT, who understand carbon accounting. They have been able to, through this tree planting, they have been able to develop a software that is able to track tree growth. Because remember, most companies deceive themselves. Once they plant, trees, they say, oh, it is absorbing X, Y carbon from the atmosphere. But remember, once you plant the tree from day one, it doesn't have the ability to absorb that amount of carbon. It has to go through the growth stage, and research shows that trees can actively absorb carbon after 7 years. But the question is, what is the life expectancy rate from day one of planting the trees to 7 years? So you might plant 1,000 trees. How many will survive till 7 years? So our community of IT people have been able to develop a software which is able to track tree expectancy, so that we can say that for every 1,000 trees we plant, it is only 700 that will survive to the 7th year. That simply means that instead of planting 1,000, we plant 1,300. How do you convince funders that we need to plant 1,300? We have an IT and technology community that have been able to build a software that is able to conduct a check and balances of these systems. So look at this example. It is not about delivering, a project of tree planting in the community, but you have been able to leverage the existing skills of all of the different components by job function, by industry function, to really create other opportunities from just one climate adaptation project or climate, mitigation project. So you have killed, popular as we said, maybe, 10 birds with just one stone. So once we are able to do that, we are able to make a very convincing case to look to the local investment community, because one of the key takeaways from this workshop is to encourage community leaders like those who have joined and those who are watching and listening us from every part of the world to now look inward to raising funds internally. We know what is happening to the funding landscape. I know a lot of resources are moving from the global north to the global south, but guess what? We see what Donald Trump has done with USAID and other organizations that are really pulling their funding out of the global south. And again, other competitive funders who are looking for, okay, so after developing the project, what's next? What's next is we have a business community that has been able to develop, a carbon market out of that project. We have an IT community that has been able to develop a tracking device. You can create so many opportunities from that one climate project you are developing. And this will only be possible if you are able to build a competent green skills for your community and have a strong adaptation advocacy strategy. And this will, in an overarching manner, ensure that communities are able to meet their local adaptation needs with actionable solutions. Remember, developing these green skills from the community for the community. Next slide. And this can only be possible if we all resort to the use of a data-driven approach to connect green competence to local adaptation needs. This is the data of the existing skills of our community. We conducted a skills inventory, did a skills mapping, understood what our required skills for the project is, what our current skills is, identified the gap, developed training to really, fill in this deficit for DID. Once we've been able to fill in the deficit, we are saying to funders that there's an opportunity for project continuation. It is not just about biodiversity. Today we have biodiversity credit market. How does your climate adaptation project really take advantage of some of these? You want an expert? That will be expensive. How do you roll in existing skills, retrain them, give them the opportunity to have green skills training, to develop jobs, to develop careers? And again, once you have this data to tell the story, you are able to connect your green skills competence, green jobs competence, green careers competence to local adaptation needs, and even make a better and informed funding decision, collaboration decision with international partners and with other local partners. Next slide. And one of the most important things I don't want to leave out is what we call the green skills labor mobility. And what is this? This is a critical emerging employability space for young people. It is going to be the new labor leverage. And what does it mean? Most of the projects which are replicated, they are replicated because we don't need to start from the scratch, because they are already existing, projects. They are, something, a project that can be, that is visible in Bangladesh can be replicated in Pakistan, can be replicated in India, can even be replicated in Africa. But the question is, how do you position yourself and your green skills to become globally mobile? Because you see a lot of jobs on climate adaptation and what have you. Once you are able to take advantage of this, other countries can really borrow your skills. So you see that in a community, you have a very strong green competence. That green competence can be bought, can be borrowed to help another community across the shores of the continent. So whilst we are developing our green skills, let's have that global mindset that it is not just for our community. These are skills which are global, which can be in need in another geographical region or in another geographical area. So thank you very much. I will hand over to Evans to continue.
Okay, thank you very much, Enoch. So as we have already mentioned, green skills is now the new labor leverage. if you really want to have labor mobility, you want to engage in the specialization of any green skills. Earlier, I gave an example. You use your current skills, but then just add or attach a green skills to it. You want to follow us on our social media handles. Study Sustainability Hub is an ecosystem where we have free courses, university programs, where we also have professional training courses for anyone who is interested in developing green skills. The fun bit about developing green skills is that in just a few years to come, you begin to have strong negotiation power, because there is this thing called labor leverage. Like my boss said, is the power that you have because of the demand for the skills. So now you'll be able to negotiate for the kind of salaries that you want. You'll be able to negotiate with the choice of employers that you have to work with. You get to have more opportunities to leadership roles because you have the skills, you have the competence. And we've created an eco space, a system for you where you can have free courses on green skills training, professional training, university programs training. You get to have the number of jobs, careers that is in this green space for your own advantage. So follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube, and then LinkedIn. You can scan the QR code on the screen, and then you'll be good to go. So I'll just end with this, that if you can invest in green skills today, you should know that you hold the keys to the coming economy or the present economy. So get abreast and then catch up with the green skill training today. And all the best to you in any local initiative that you are performing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please, can we get a reaction, applause? Thank you, Evans. Thank you, Enoch, for doing this. And if you are just joining, we were discussing, or we are still discussing, from and for local communities, building green skills and careers ecosystem. And we learned that there is a place for green skills, and to push the green skills agenda, all we need to consider is to upskill, because there are existing skills already. So you don't need to acquire new skills. It requires upscaling, and we know where to focus on per our analytics, the small companies and what to focus on. And we can also focus on conducting green skills assessments, which is very crucial. It helps in identifying the skill gaps, which helps in developing targeted training programs for local communities, right? And also mapping these needs to required competence development is also a key, because it helps in aligning the skills developed with the community needs and ensures effective green career growth. Without further ado, we are moving on to the next session, which is Q&A. If you have any question, you can use the hand raise emoji reaction, or you can just leave the question in the chat box, and our speakers will answer all your questions. And also ensure your microphones are muted except for the person speaking. Thank you. We'll be taking the first question.
I think Nazib Shigan, you can please unmute and ask your question, or if you want to type, any is fine. Nazib, is your hand raised, or you just clicked on it by mistake?
Good afternoon from Bangladesh. First of all, I want to introduce myself to all of you. My name is Najib Sugan. I have recently graduated from Geography and Environment discipline in National University, Bangladesh. Now, I am glad to attend. I'm glad to join the Gobeshona Global Conference, which is held on online session by organized by ICCCAD. Uh, I listened the whole conversation. I really appreciated the conversation. And first of all, I want to know you from you that how gender equality for green skills, green jobs, and global climate sustainability, we how uh, how we can both in Asia continent, subcontinent, and also in Africa continent, how we manage the gender equality for both men and women have done both men and women must be involved in green skills, green jobs for better climate, for better environment. How can we manage? How can we engage them? I especially tell for women that how can we engage them for green skills, green jobs, for better climate, better environment. I want to know that, and I am I am really appreciated that Study Sustainability Hub is doing great job for providing free courses, free training for green skills, green job. I in future I want to do uh, I want to do as a geographer and environment, especially in Study Sustainability Hub for doing a course or professional training that that is enhance myself in my future career in my geography and environment career. So thank you so much for listening to me, and my question is that I
Yeah,
already my
yeah,
question.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Nazim Shigan, thank you very much for your question. And your question is very, very, very a good question. Going back to our analytics, one of the slides Ivan spoke about was the fact that even for our platform, we have about over almost 70% of our followers to be male, and less than 30% to be female. And this is the catch. Once we talk about gender equity or gender equality in climate action, funders want to see data. You are telling us that a lot of women are not engaged. How do you know? Where do you get your data from? So one of the beautiful things we have done, which we want attendees to replicate, is that yes, we have the data. So when we are talking about gender inequality, this is the data. Our follower count shows. Once you have the data, you now are able to now dig into it. So we have 30% of women following our platform. What is their background? If their background is in a lot of non-STEM projects or maybe STEM, you now seek funding, develop careers. Is it to support women to take more STEM-related courses? Is it to support women with specialized courses and what have you? Because if we do not have data to speak to gender equality issues, trust me, we will go nowhere. It will just be a song we will sing. It will just be a normal rhetoric of saying, oh yeah, gender equality, gender equality. How do we encourage women to join? The first question is, do you have data to show that we don't have a lot of women in the space? If you have a lot of data to show that there are not a lot of women in the space, then you can develop targeted training. You can develop targeted advocacy. How do you develop targeted advocacy? That 30% of women you have, what is their background? What is their industry affiliation? What is their job function affiliation? You are able to get into some of these very detailed, characteristics or indicators or pointers of these 30%. And once you have that, you are able to drive home initiative that really address the need. Please remember, you can shout all you can about gender equity, encouraging women, but if you do not have data that really and explicitly tell you what the problem is, you would go nowhere. So the first step to encouraging women, to engaging women, to advising women is to get into the details. What is their background? What do they have? What industry affiliations do they find themselves in? And what have you? Once you are able to answer all of these questions, you know where to start from. I hope this has been helpful.
Thank you so much. It's really appreciating for me to learn from you to enhance myself for gender equality. Both men and women have must be involved for green jobs and green skills career to involve in climate change mitigation or climate change adaptation. So thank you so much. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, another question from I think Kashana Hack. You can please ask a question. Yeah,
Hello, am I audible?
yeah, you're audible.
Yes. Hi there. My name is Sakib Haq. I'm sorry, I've joined in from a different Zoom account, so it's my colleague's name that's coming up. But I firstly wanted to thank the panelists for a very excellent set of presentations. I think it's been very, very informative, and particularly on platforms such as this, where we're really trying to enhance the different modes and methods that we can use for capacity building, getting people to understand that there are different ways that we might be able to enhance skills, and what are some of the ways that people can brush up on soft skills. So I think this was an excellent presentation on different areas that really don't get quite a lot of sort of focus when you're looking with donor funded projects. They're looking more at hard implementation and hard capacity building, where you're really doing, even if they are focusing on capacity building, I often find is one of the elements that never really gets any good reach in funding. So in that sense, what can be some ways that we can enhance not just our Gobeshona platform that we have here from ICCCAD, but as well as the sustainability hub that you've been promoting today? What are some of the ways that networks like this, these sorts of hubs and platforms that we've created over the last few years, all of which have a following of our own, how can we better target and be a bit more collaborative? What might be some of the ways that we, during one conference series to the next, really get the engagement from our people that are audiences that have been following? So for the Gobeshona series, this is our 5th year online, but we've been about a 10-year journey with physical conferences as well as online format. So we really do have quite a lot of presence in our own networks in our countries here, as I'm sure you do in your hubs. So what are the ways that we can really merge our audiences to be a little bit more collaborative rather than just whenever our events are happening, we do a little bit of branding and we do a little bit of boosting? What are the things that we should be doing between one conference to the next, in one hub event to the next, so that we really keep that momentum and that collaboration and synergy of being able to enhance different topics? Not everybody's going to be expert in water and climate change issues. They're not going to be expert on gender and sustainability. But within our networks, there will be people with that expertise. How to tap into that between one event to the next? So my question more broad for the organizers, how might we better collaborate between ourselves from one event to the next? And what can we do to support that? And thank you. Excellent session. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I didn't get your name, but let me just continue. Otherwise, I'll be tempted to mention Kashana's name. Yeah. So one of the motivations behind developing Study Sustainability Hub was in response to a research we conducted over a year, asking students who were really uncertain and having anxieties about, this whole brouhaha, this whole noise on green skills development, green transition, climate transition. Okay, Sakib, yes, transition and what have you. You realize that when these students or professionals go on Google, because that is the next, available spots they'll be directed to go to. When they get there, all they have to do is to be typing sustainability courses, sustainability careers, what, and the tones of response and feedback they get is overwhelming. And this overwhelming feedback always discourages them. So one of the motivations for creating Study Sustainability Hub is to get a one-stop shop, one marketplace where students, professionals, lifelong learners, those who want to transition, those who want to develop their green skills in the existing roles would go to and have a kind of not restricted, but a more robust environment to navigate when it comes to sustainability, career development, skills development, and what have you. So yes, we've been able to build this community, and the platform will officially go live by the end of May, where just go there instead of Googling and searching for free courses where you will have a ton of answers. Come to our platform. If you are in banking and finance, come to our platform, filter by discipline, green finance, and every free course available to support you in your banking and finance role, you find it there. And that was one of the deficits we found we got a response to students who say they go to Google because they are in marketing. They want to know a free course which really aligns to the existing portfolio marketing. They go to Google and it gives them a lot of response. They don't know which of these courses is even giving the right information. Our platform has vetted all of these courses. So when you come to our platform and you see any sustainability course related to marketing and communication, you know you are taking a very good course because it has gone through an internal assurance process, which Evans can even speak more to it. It has gone through an internal assurance process to give the users of the platform that credibility and that confidence that take this free course and you find it. University programs are there, blah, 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 what have you. Now, for a conference like what we are having, once participants attend these conferences, the question they ask themselves is, what's next? And what is the what's next? Where do I go to? So it becomes very important for organizations like yourself to develop collaboration because we are not competing in this, climate change education and, frontiers. We are not competing. Okay, so after this, go to this platform. Now, once you tell them to go to that partner platform, we are building a community, you are building a community. When it is time for your conference, whatever they have learned on our platform, we direct them to say, let's go to this conclave to hear what is new, because that is one of the very good advantages of platforms of your nature. You organize conferences, you run conferences, which brings together different ideas, different experts, different perspective, different people running different projects to share views. Trust me, the next innovation someone is thinking about has already been done by another person. Why start from the scratch? Why don't you come to this conference to hear what is happening? So you realize that when we are able to build an ecosystem of collaboration, because trust me, after here, someone is going to say, okay, now I've heard about green skills. Where do I start from? And this is not provided by the conference because the conference is creating an idea for an ideas feast. It is creating a platform or a dice for an ideas feast. What is next? What is next? Another organization can handle what is next. Once the organization handles what is next, you realize that when it's time for a conference again, that partner organization is going to inform this very person that, hey, I know you've learned a lot of things on my platform, but there's a conference coming up. What is the essence of the conference? You are going there to hear something new. After hearing that new thing, what is the next thing it comes? So you realize that within one ecosystem, we would have developed a community of about 10,000 followers. Your platform on LinkedIn already has over 37,000 followers. How do we leverage these 37,000 followers to understand that each and every day there's something new to learn on the Gobeshona platform? So it's all about collaborating to give your audience an opportunity to get connected to a credible source on what is next. Once you provide that ecosystem of what is next for them, that same platform or opportunity is able to revert them back when it comes to conferences, which gives participants or users the opportunity or audience the opportunity to learn what is next. So come to a conference to learn what is next in the world. What is next for you? Go to this platform to learn. What is next in the industry? We come back to the platform. So you see that there's this symbiotic synergy between organizations, which helps create a very strong ecosystem and a shared participation. So audiences are shared, participants are shared, we all grow the community together. I don't know if Evans has anything to add to that.
Yes, so I think the response from Enoch is perfect. It's more on standing or relying on the place of your massive strength. So keep doing you, keep doing the conferences that brings people together and putting the ideas together. Then you collaborate with other people to take the what is next part of the whole conversation. So keep being that conference mogul within the sustainability space, and then collaborate with other people. And like Enoch said, the people that you collaborate with will refer you back, will refer more people back to you. Then you keep increasing your space. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions? We have few minutes to end this session. Any other question, please? Please, are there any other questions? You have the liberty to do so. Okay, on that note, as Evans just said, keep doing you, let's collaborate, let's invest in green skills, because green skills can create jobs, it stimulates local economies. So green skills, in a nutshell, can drive local growth. A big thank you to all of you for actively participating in today's insightful session. I've enjoyed it. I believe you did as well. And to remind you, this session is titled From and For Local Communities, Building Green Skills and Careers Ecosystem. A huge appreciation goes to our exceptional speakers, Enoch and Evans, for sharing their expertise and passion for sustainability and green skills. To keep the conversation going, I've dropped our LinkedIn profiles in the chat. You can follow us on LinkedIn to keep the conversation going, and also our social media handles, that's Leaps and Heights Foundation and Steady Sustainability Hub. It's also in the chat box. Follow us on all social media platforms to keep the sustainability dialogue going. Thank you once again for your engagement, and we look forward to your continued participation in a sustainability community. On that note, until next time, is bye for now. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. I would like to request for a photo, or we can just turn on our camera and take a snap. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sohail.
Thank you for hosting us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.